It's essential to our prosperity, our health, our sanity, and the happiness and richness of our lives. And people inherently understand this. The idea of environmental sustainability has exploded into our languages and gained increasing popularity in the public consciousness. Increasingly, too, it has been watered down by the mass media, hence this illustration, and especially by corporations, some of them who are serious about sustainability and are really making some good progress in developing it, and then others who, in effect, are bragging about something that I'm rather dubious that they're actually trying to achieve in a very serious way. I don't mean to pick on Ferrari. Some of you may drive Ferraris. I happened to be in Shanghai a year ago and saw this billboard at a technology show, exposition, and I thought it was amusing, and was an illustration of the fact that this has now become something that corporations use for marketing, which is good in a sense in that it means that people get sustainability and they want sustainability and they would like to purchase sustainability, but it's not necessarily good if it doesn't mean anything and reduces sustainability to something that no longer has a meaning. We looked at a linguistic study in our book that was based on the idea that of the exponential growth in the use of the word sustainable in the English language, and which projected that in less than a century it will be the only word used in the English language. Now, the study was not, unfortunately, peer-reviewed, but in a rare lapse of our standards for State of the World at the World Watch Institute, we used this illustration in our book anyway. And now, inevitably, we're getting to see now something of a backlash about the word sustainability. This is from a column in The Economist recently. I always thought stakeholder, which I think Jane conceded was a pretty nice word, but apparently stakeholder and sustainability is now something of a cliche, at least so The Economist thinks, so we need to be guarded about that issue. So let's take a moment to consider what sustainability is, what it really means, and especially in relation to the minute particulars of constructing buildings, how we can measure it and know when we have arrived at true sustainability. Here's the definition that a prominent World Commission offered in 1987. And it's been, I think, the most authoritative definition yet of sustainable development, but within sustainable development, what sustainability actually means. This is a funny phenomenon. I can always use this laser pointer at home when I test it, and even in my hotel room in the morning, but when I make it and address it, it never works. So I'll just have to rely on your ability to read that. Now, we could translate this simply as living decently in the present without undermining the capacity of future generations to live just as decently. An activity is sustainable if it can continue indefinitely at its current scale and current pace without in any way undermining the conditions that allow it to operate. We can measure this in climate, in our use of fresh water and other renewable resources, in our treatment of the living world. We can apply a sustainability metric, a measurement, to see if we are leaving as much to our descendants as our ancestors, in effect, left to us. It's important to perform this metric for any activity we engage in that we want to claim as sustainable. It's not enough to simply have less impact or to target some percentage reduction in greenhouse gas emissions or use of natural resources or other aspects of materials consumption. These are important first steps, and it's not to diminish the goal or the stretch goal that we set for ourselves to diminish or minimize emissions by, say, 30% by a set time. But it's not enough. To be sustainable, we need to demonstrate that what we do, in what we do, everyone who comes after us can also do at the same scale without weakening the fabric of future societies and civilizations. This is a very tall order. To put the process of building structures and infrastructure into perspective, it's important to acknowledge that human beings are now a force of nature. What we are doing to the landscape is greater than what wind and water and changes in temperature are doing.